When installing 277-volt lighting in commercial bathrooms, there are specific provisions and restrictions outlined in the National Electrical Code, specifically the 2020 edition. It is crucial to adhere to these regulations to ensure safety and compliance. Article 410.41 of the NEC addresses general requirements for 277-volt lighting fixtures. Lighting fixtures and their wiring must be specifically listed for 277 volts. If fixtures are not specifically listed for 277 volts, they must be clearly marked as being suitable for use on 277 volts. For recessed lighting in bathrooms, NEC 410.4d states that recessed lighting fixtures installed in ceilings above sinks must be located at least 3 feet from the top of the sink rim. This requirement is in place to prevent water splashing or direct contact with the electrical fixtures, which could create a safety hazard. For undercounter lighting, NEC 410.41b2 stipulates that undercounter lighting fixtures in bathrooms must be connected to a 120-volt circuit. This provision is intended to reduce the risk of electrical shock in an area where water is likely to be present. In addition to these specific regulations, several other considerations are important when installing 277-volt lighting in commercial bathrooms. Firstly, conduit type. Use rigid or intermediate metal conduit (IMC) for all wiring. This type of conduit provides physical protection for the wiring and helps to ensure safe installation. Secondly, wire size. Use an appropriate wire size based on the wattage of the fixtures and the length of the circuit. Consulting the NEC tables for ampacity is crucial to selecting the correct wire size. Thirdly, grounding. Ensure that the fixtures and wiring are properly grounded. Grounding provides a path for fault current to flow, which helps to protect against electrical shock. Fourthly, marking. All fixtures must be clearly labeled as 277 volts or for use on 277 volts. This labeling helps to ensure that the fixtures are used correctly and that they are not accidentally connected to a 120-volt circuit. It is important to note that there is an exception to the restriction on 277-volt undercounter lighting. The restriction on 277-volt undercounter lighting does not apply if the fixtures are part of an isolated power distribution system (IPS) that provides power to only the undercounter lighting. An IPS provides an extra layer of safety by isolating the undercounter lighting circuit from the rest of the electrical system. In summary, when installing 277-volt lighting in commercial bathrooms, keep the following in mind. 1. Ensure that the fixtures and wiring are specifically listed or marked for 277 volts. 2. Locate recessed lighting fixtures at least 3 feet from the top of the sink rim. 3. Connect undercounter lighting fixtures to a 120-volt circuit unless they are part of an IPS. 4. Use rigid or IMC conduit for all wiring. 5. Use an appropriate wire size based on the wattage of the fixtures and the length of the circuit. 6. Ensure that the fixtures and wiring are properly grounded. 7. Clearly label all fixtures as 277 volts or for use on 277 volts. Always consult with a qualified electrician for proper installation and safety precautions. Follow the manufacturer's instructions and any applicable local building codes. And finally, verify the suitability of the fixtures and wiring for the intended use and location. Understanding these provisions and restrictions is essential for safely and effectively installing 277-volt lighting in commercial bathrooms. It is recommended to consult with a qualified electrician for any electrical work. The NEC guidelines serve to protect people and property from hazards that can arise from the use of electricity. Here are more in-depth considerations for each of these points. Firstly, fixture listing and marking. Verify that the lighting fixtures you intend to install are either specifically listed for use with 277 volts or have markings indicating their suitability for 277-volt applications. This listing or marking ensures the fixture has been tested and certified to handle the higher voltage safely. Secondly, recessed lighting placement. The 3-foot distance requirement for recessed fixtures above sinks is measured horizontally from the edge of the sink rim to the nearest part of the fixture. Ensure that this distance is maintained to prevent water intrusion into the fixture housing. Thirdly, undercounter lighting voltage. The 120-volt requirement for undercounter lighting is primarily a safety measure. Lower voltage reduces the risk of electric shock in wet environments. If you opt for an isolated power distribution system for 277-volt undercounter lighting, ensure it is designed, installed, and maintained in accordance with NEC Article 517, which covers healthcare facilities, or other applicable standards for isolated power systems. Fourthly, conduit selection. Rigid metal conduit, RMC, and intermediate metal conduit, IMC, are preferred due to their robust physical protection. These conduits safeguard the wiring from mechanical damage and environmental factors. Other conduit types may be permitted in specific situations, but RMC and IMC offer superior protection. Fifthly, wire sizing. The wire size must be adequate to carry the load of the lighting fixtures without overheating. Consult NEC Table 310.16 or the appropriate table for your wiring method to determine the correct wire size based on the ampacity required for the circuit. Consider voltage drop over long circuit runs, as this can affect the performance of the lighting fixtures. Sixthly, grounding. Proper grounding is critical for safety. Ensure that all metal parts of the lighting fixtures, conduit, and junction boxes are properly grounded to provide a low impedance path for fault currents. Use a grounding conductor that is sized according to NEC Table 250.122. Seventhly, labeling. Clear and durable labeling helps prevent accidental connection of the fixture to an incorrect voltage supply. The labeling should be permanently fixed to the fixture and easily visible. Here are the additional recommendations. Always consult with a qualified electrician. The electrical work should always be performed by someone who is licensed and experienced in electrical installations. They can ensure the work meets all applicable codes and standards. Follow manufacturer's instructions. The manufacturer's instructions provide specific guidance on how to install and wire the lighting fixtures correctly. Adhere to these instructions to maintain the fixture's warranty and ensure proper operation. Verify suitability. Before installation, double-check that the fixtures and wiring are suitable for the intended use and location. Consider environmental factors such as humidity, temperature, and the presence of corrosive substances. Local building codes. Always comply with local building codes and regulations, which may have additional requirements beyond the NEC. Permit requirements. Determine whether a permit is required for the electrical work and obtain all necessary permits before starting the installation. Inspection. After completing the installation, schedule an inspection by the local electrical inspector to verify that the work meets code requirements. Ongoing maintenance. Regularly inspect the lighting fixtures and wiring for any signs of damage or wear. Replace any damaged components promptly to prevent safety hazards. Safety precautions. Always disconnect power to the circuit before working on any electrical equipment. Use appropriate personal protective equipment, PPE, such as safety glasses and insulated gloves. Safe work practices. Follow safe work practices, such as using the right tools for the job and avoiding working in wet conditions. Consider energy efficiency. Choose energy-efficient lighting fixtures, such as LED fixtures, to reduce energy consumption and lower operating costs. Lighting controls. Install lighting controls, such as occupancy sensors or dimmers, to further reduce energy consumption and provide greater flexibility in lighting levels. Emergency lighting. Ensure that the bathroom has adequate emergency lighting in case of power outage. Emergency lighting should be powered by a separate circuit or battery backup system. Accessibility. Comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, guidelines for accessibility, which may include requirements for lighting levels and placement. Lighting design. Consider the overall lighting design of the bathroom to ensure adequate illumination and a comfortable environment. Avoid glare and shadows, which can be distracting or cause eye strain. Color rendering. Choose lighting fixtures with a high color rendering index (CRI) to accurately render colors and create a more visually appealing space. Light distribution. Select lighting fixtures with appropriate light distribution patterns to provide uniform illumination throughout the bathroom. Avoid areas that are too bright or too dim. Maintenance access. Ensure that the lighting fixtures are easily accessible for maintenance and replacement. Provide adequate clearance around the fixtures for service personnel. Sustainability. Choose sustainable lighting products that are environmentally friendly and have a long lifespan. Consider the use of recycled materials and energy-efficient technologies. Documentation. Keep accurate records of the lighting installation, including wiring diagrams, fixture specifications, and inspection reports. This documentation can be helpful for future maintenance and troubleshooting. Future upgrades. Plan for future upgrades or modifications to the lighting system. Choose fixtures and wiring that can accommodate potential changes in lighting technology or building usage. By adhering to these detailed considerations, you can ensure a safe, code-compliant, and efficient lighting installation in commercial bathrooms. Always prioritize safety and consult with qualified professionals for any electrical work.